Well, hey everybody, good morning and welcome on back to another episode of the Dirty Windshield series with me, Meredith, for Friday, August 18th, 2023. Today I thought I'd talk about a song that has been a favorite of mine and is probably the most played song I've ever played, whether it was on record, CD, and of course now MP3. The song is not a fast song, it's a ballad. It is performed by probably one of the greatest rock and roll bands ever. The band needs no introduction, but I thought I'd talk a little bit about the song. The band I'm talking about, of course, is the Rolling Stones. And the song I'll be talking about is their 1973 track Winter off of Goat's Head Soup. It is I guess it would be like a country rock type ballad, is the only way I can describe it. If you've never heard it, after the video, head on over to Spotify and just Google Rolling Stones Winter and give it a listen. And listen to it on headphones. Don't listen to it through your smartphone speaker. You've got to listen to it on headphones. It's at a time when Mick Taylor had been with the band 4 years, I guess, at that point. When Brian Jones passed away, they brought in Mick Taylor, who was a little bit younger than the other members of the Stones, but wow, could he ever play guitar? And his style of lead playing just absolutely complemented Keith Richards' rhythm playing. Keith would come up with great riffs, of course, and Mick Taylor would just take those riffs and just, like, whether it was his slide guitar or his playing on his SG or whatever, I mean, he just would knock it out of the park. And in particular, this song, Winter, is just absolutely phenomenal. I think it comes in at just over 5.5 minutes long. It was produced by Jimmy Miller, who was responsible for a lot of those Stones classics. That period from 1969, when Mick Taylor joined them, to the final album, It's Only Rock and Roll in 74, created some of the best guitar solos, not just for the Stones, but for rock and roll music in general. Go check out Time Waits for No One. I mean, that's just like absolutely beautiful. And it's just as every bit beautiful as the song Winter. And I think those two songs are, because they're ballads, I think they're probably my favorite Rolling Stones tunes. And of course, just as a side note, not to get too far off topic, but as the years went on after Mick Taylor left, he was replaced by Ron Wood, who had come from the Faces with Rod Stewart. And I guess that would have happened in 74, 75. And his first album was Black and Blue. And you can hear the production values are starting to change. I mean, Black and Blue, you get to Fool to Cry, and you get Memory Motel, and you can, the productions are getting more lush. You can see that recording is now changing, which it had been, but it was almost like the Stones were grunge in the early 70s. You listen to Exile on Main Street, you listen Sticky Fingers, Exile, Goat's Head Soup, those 3 albums for them, the production, it's like, well, this isn't, wow. You think, boy, that's kind of like they're really dirty recordings because they're, I think that's probably the height of their, obviously Keith's drug problem, but more so that is just like the height of their, let's just capture what we can do, a couple microphones, no fancy EQ, nothing. It's just straight ahead, whatever the microphones are picking up, they're dumping down into the console on a tape. That's what you're getting. And that is what you get. And of course, when Ron Wood joined, you hear the production values changing. Well, to carry on from my point, the Stones to me were never the same after Mick Taylor left. Some Girls I liked because it was getting back to more, because punk was around at that time. They sort of got away from what they were doing and kind of went back to their roots, which was punk, essentially, and rock and roll. And then in 1981, they brought out Tattoo You, which for many people is sort of really truly the last great Stones album, never duplicated by Undercover or Dirty Work. Like, it just didn't seem like the same band anymore, even though it was the same band essentially, the members wise, but it just didn't have that same edgy type feel. Anyways, on Tattoo You, there's a song called Tops, and I think it's just before Waiting on a Friend, or in the listing. And I always loved that song. I thought the chord changes were beautiful, and it's different. As well as it just has a different sound to it. Well, what I'd later find out is that song was a leftover demo, as many of the songs were on Tattoo You. And a lot of them went back to that time when Mick Taylor was in the band. And when you hear that opening, that ultimately is a Mick Taylor type of riff, if you call it that, lead playing. Anyways, Tops off Tattoo You, Time Waits for No One off It's Only Rock and Roll in 74, and in 73, Winter. That song is just like stripped down. It is just absolutely fantastic. It was recorded in Kingston, Jamaica, I think December 1972. And from what I've heard, Mick Jagger had come into the studio with some ideas, and he started playing the chords, and Mick Taylor started laying some licks down on top of it. And then, of course, Bill and Charlie, probably one of the greatest rhythm sections ever, started putting stuff down on it. And Nicky Hopkins was around, the great pianist, keyboardist, probably one of the greatest rock and roll artists of all time. He started laying accompanying piano tracks down on top of it, and that song all of a sudden became what we hear on that recording, which of course was produced by Jimmy Miller, like I said, who was responsible for a lot of that sound, and it's gritty, but it's a country rock type ballad, and it's absolutely perfect. I've heard people talk about, Mick Jagger's not that great of a singer, and I'm like, what in the hell? Pardon? Sir Mick Jagger. You mean he's not a great singer? Well, he can't belt it out like Robert Plant or Roger Daltrey. Pardon? The guy who sang Gimme Shelter, Jumpin' Jack Flash, 19th Nervous Breakdown, Satisfaction. Come again? Tell me. He is such a bluesy type singer. He's got such a good, strong presence in his voice. The man, Sir Mick Jagger, is absolute genius in his delivery. And on Winter, he does not fail the whole way through. The conviction, the lamentation, the that want to, you know, feel some, get closure, whatever, like that emotion that he's actually trying to put across on that song is so well done. I tell you, if there's any song that I have listened to on repeat for days on end, is that song. I've listened to a lot of songs, I've got my favorite songs, and whether it's Hey Jude or Won't Get Fooled Again or whatever tune it is, Carpet Crawlers, Red Rain, and Digging in the Dirt by Peter Gabriel, or his Genesis years, Us and Them by Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. The one song that I've probably listened to the most in my life is Winter by the Rolling Stones. It's gritty, it's dirty, but it is absolute perfection. If you've never heard it, you have got to go check it out. It's like track number 8 on Goat's Head Soup, I think. I should actually look that up. I think I'd know this, but let's see, 10 tracks. Track number 8, Winter. Angie is on that, on Goat's Head Soup as well. Star, which originally I believe it was called Starfucker, but they censored it, and it's now Star. I love that song. That's a great tune. If you're into ballads and stuff, like upbeat, or just faster type tempo, and you like Rolling Stones kind of ballads, you'll love this song. It's fantastic. Anyways, guys, that was today's little chat. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Take it easy out there. Fall is coming, harvest season, and enjoy the last month here of summer. And we will catch you on the flip side. Over and out. Shabbat Shalom, because it's Friday. Tomorrow, the Sabbath. All right, over and out.